Oh my gosh, for the last time, if you don't want me to eat your sandwich, put a post-it note or something on it. Sheesh. Hi, I'm Gruffus. Welcome to Puppet Tabletop, and today we're going to be taking a look at Worminators, Inside Job. And by the way, if you're going to make a sandwich, at least put some meeples on it next time. The year, 2022. The place, PAX West. Linvander Studios ran a Design a Board Game panel, where they set out to design a board game live in collaboration with the audience. Now, if you think that origin story sounds like a recipe for disaster, I wouldn't blame you. I'd think so too. But what if it wasn't? What if it resulted in something goofy and delightful? What if it resulted in something with just the right amount of strategic depth and weight to be both welcoming to novice gamers and enjoyable to experienced gamers? Well, we can knock it off with all these hypotheticals because I present to you Worminators, Inside Job. This bizarre and glorious co-op game sees 1 to 4 players taking on the role of a detective in the Big Apple, where a high-profile murder has just occurred. There's just 2 things you need to know before you start your investigation. First, the city is rotten to the core. Corruption and crime are running rampant in the Big Apple, and they're going to be causing speed bumps for your investigation every step along the way. The second thing you need to know is that everyone in town, they're all worms. Literally. You heard me correctly. This game dares to ask the question, what happens if actual, literal worms were in a buddy cop movie? Before you get started on your investigation, you'll need to do a couple things to set up the game. You'll shuffle the starting corruption deck, create the market, and place all of the starting evidence tokens on the board. Then, everyone selects their detective, each with their own unique ability. I'm sure you can spot some of the film references and tropes some of these characters represent. Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon. Each player also begins play with an identical starting deck of detective cards, and draws 4 of those cards for their starting hand. With that, everyone is good to begin. Throughout the game, you'll be playing cards from your hand to purchase new detective cards from the market, and moving evidence tokens closer to the courthouse in the center of the board. Your goal is to move all those investigation tokens on the board into the courthouse so you can solve the case and win the game. And on your turn, you're going to be playing any number of detective cards that you wish from your hand. Each of the detective cards will have either an investigation value in the upper left, or an ability at the bottom. Many of them will have both. During your turn, you can spend up to the investigation value on your played cards to purchase new detective cards from the market that get added to your deck. And you can even spend 4 investigation to move any evidence token along any path. Your detective cards with abilities will also help you with various things, such as moving investigation tokens and by letting you pound the pavement. When you play a Pound the Pavement ability, you place your detective in one of the not-so-nice neighborhoods around the board, and it provides a passive benefit to specific locations in that neighborhood. It's one of the primary methods of player interaction in the game. However, after each player finishes their turn, the city bites back. First, you draw the top 2 cards of the corruption deck one at a time, and resolve them. This deck contains negative events that represent the corrupt bureaucracy that your worm has to exist in order to do its job. These events range from misfiled evidence to cover-ups of various sizes. And though extremely rare, there are the occasional positive events sprinkled into the corruption deck, but those are few and far between. The vast majority of the negative events in the corruption deck, though, are going to result in corrupt officials and criminal organizations stealing evidence tokens on the board. When evidence is stolen, it's flipped to its backside, and cannot be moved by detectives until it's been recovered. In order to recover stolen evidence, detectives need to play cards during their turn that allow them to recover evidence. If the players don't have any cards that allow them to recover evidence, they can instead pay the investigation cost to recover it, indicated by the current corruption level. This is found on the corruption tracker on the side of the board. Once recovered, the evidence is flipped back to its active side. If you ever need to draw a corruption card and can't, you reshuffle the corruption deck discard pile to make a new corruption deck, and then advance the city corruption tracker by 1, increasing the investigation cost to recover evidence. If you ever need to advance the corruption tracker beyond the top space, you lose the game. After resolving all of the corruption cards, the market cards are then cycled. If there's a card in the rightmost space, it's discarded and all the cards slide to the right to fill the empty space. New cards are then drawn from the market deck to fill in any empty spaces on the left. Seems like a simple process, right? Wrong. Don't forget, this isn't Lazy Town. This is the Big Apple. This is New York in the 70s. This is Mega City 1 from Judge Dredd. This is a very dangerous and unpleasant place to be. As a result, the market deck is just as corrupt and dangerous, just as much of a pain in the butt as the corruption deck is. You see, the market deck doesn't just contain detective cards for purchase. It also contains corruption cards and active crimes. You heard me right. There's also active crimes. You may be trying to track down evidence for that high-profile murder, but at the end of the day, you're still a cop, and you've still got crime to fight. These active crimes provide you with passive benefits while they're in the market, but if they ever reach the end of the market and they're discarded, they're instead moved down to the unsolved crime section at the bottom of the board. If you ever need to place an unsolved crime in one of these slots and you can't, you guessed it, you lose the game. Likewise, with the corruption cards in the market deck, if they ever reach the end of the market and need to be discarded, well, instead of going in the market discard pile, they're added to the corruption deck discard pile, making it even worse than it was before next time you have to shuffle. The only way to stop these corruption cards and active crimes is by purchasing and trashing them from the market before they ever get cycled out. However, corruption cards and active crimes increase in cost the longer they're in the market, so they get tougher to overcome the longer that you procrastinate. Once all this badness is done, you draw 4 more cards from the top of your deck and add them to the unused cards in your hand. Then play passes to the next player. You keep cycling through play like this until one of the loss conditions is met, or until you've won by gathering all of the evidence in the courthouse with its recovered side up. And that's how you become a worm detective. So, what did I like about Worminators' inside job? Well, if it's not evident from my other reviews by now, I'm a big theme guy. I care about mechanics and player count and all that good stuff, but a juicy theme is what I care about the most. If the theme isn't there, then I'm not either. And the theme in Worminators is perfect for me. Retro buddy cop movie where everybody's worms? Sign me up. But Worminators not only has a goofy and unique theme, it also blends that theme really well with some fun mechanics. You actually do feel like a cop in a corrupt city when you play. It constantly feels like you're fighting against the system, taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. You have turns where it feels like all of your momentum and hard work were just undone, but then you have turns where it feels like you have a breakthrough in the case and you start making tons of progress. It simulates the struggle of a cop working in a broken system really well. The game always feels like an uphill battle, but in the best way. The game also does a fantastic job of presenting you with meaningful choices, and all of these choices come with a compromise. You might be able to buy that great card that you want, or recover some evidence, but it'll come at the cost of maybe letting an active crime slip through, or another corruption card getting added to the deck. And all of these choices keep everyone engaged even when it's not their turn. A lot of the time, games will have lots of downtime between player turns because there's no way for the players to interact outside of their own turn. While that's the case here, you don't feel that downtime. Every decision is so important that all of the players are focused on what's happening on the board at all times, even when it's not their turn. There's always engaging conversation about the decisions, but without really creating an opportunity for anybody to quarterback. And the game achieves all of this using existing mechanics that we all know and love from other games. While the game doesn't really introduce anything new or groundbreaking on its own, the mechanics that it does borrow from other games feels a lot like a love letter to them. And it weaves those mechanics together into something really fun to engage with. Plus, I forgot to mention that the game has 5 levels of difficulty scaling that you can tweak to match the type of group that you're playing with. And the game wraps all of this up in a pretty nice presentation as well. The neon color scheme with dark contrasts and funny cartoon worm characters does a great job of driving home the theme for me. Pretty much everything about this game, from the rules to the presentation, just puts a smile on my face. So, what did I not like? The game doesn't come with much component-wise. It's got a board, some cardboard punch-outs, and some cards. That's not my problem. The components the game comes with is all it needs to be fantastic. My issue is that I feel like the quality of some of those components is a bit lacking. The cards have a bit of a fragile, papery feel to them that makes me concerned for their longevity. As a matter of fact, before this review, every single one of these cards was sleeved because I'm so worried about that. I mean, the fact that I care enough to sleeve them should show how much I enjoy this game, but I really don't like having to sleeve cards in my board games unless I absolutely have to. The game also comes with these little plastic stands that you use to hold up the worm detectives, but one of the stands that came in my box came shaped incorrectly. As a result, one of my detectives doesn't have the ability to stand up. I think I just got unlucky on that one because I haven't seen anybody else mention that happened to them, but it's something worth noting. I'll also say that it's possible to get really unlucky in this game as well. I had a game once where practically every card that got revealed from the market was a corruption card or an active crime. It made progressing and ramping up during that game extremely difficult, but then again, I've played this game a billion times and that only happened once. I think it was more of a perfect storm situation and less of a fundamental issue with the game. And I saved it for last. My favorite part of the review is box time. The box for Worminators is unfortunately a little bit meh. The outside has some fun cover art, but there's this jarring white footer on it that says Born at PAX West on it. The Born at PAX West part probably doesn't mean anything to most gamers, and the white footer really draws your eyes away from the beautiful cover art that kind of sells the vibe of the game. I know I'm getting kind of lost in the weeds here, but I gotta say that white footer just kind of makes the box look a little cheap. It's a really small and petty gripe, but I don't know, there's something about that white footer. It's just, it's not doing the game any favors in my opinion. Then there's the box insert. It has a cool printed texture on it, but it's one of those bisected inserts that really wasn't meant to hold these specific game components. It does the job okay, but it doesn't clearly divide or store the components, it just kind of leaves everything in there loosey-goosey. And for a game that I enjoyed this much, I would have liked a little more care and thought put into the storage solution. But hey, I'm a weirdo about these things, so wait a minute, what is that? DeWurm Investigation Firm. DeWurm will dig up the dirt. Are you in trouble? Do you owe money to a violent octopus? You're not alone. DeWurm has helped countless puppets and can help you too. Just say, I need DeWurm. What the heck? Who are you? I am DeWurm. Oh, from the ad. That was quick. Listen, man, I'm in some real trouble. I borrowed a lot of money from an octopus down in La Jolla Cove, and he's red, he's got 8 legs, he crushes cigars like it's his last night on Earth. I don't know, he just doubled the payment that I owe him. You gotta help me out, man, I'm messed up real bad. He's gonna hurt me if I can't solve this. Your ad mentioned that you can help me dig up some dirt on him. You're gonna help me, right? I am DeWurm. Yes. Yes, you already said that. So are you gonna help me? I am DeWurm. Oh, okay. This is one of those Chewbacca, I am Groot type of situations, isn't it? I am DeWurm. Okay, well how about this? Nod once if you're gonna help me. I am DeWurm. Oh, thank you so much, DeWurm. Is there anything that I need to do in the meantime, or? I am DeWurm. I still can't understand you, so I'm just gonna take that as a no. I am DeWurm. Okay then, that was weird. Anybody know what that guy was saying? And now for the solo review. Please welcome our resident solo reviewer, Mortimer. Hey Gruffus, just a little curious, but who's that worm guy? His name's DeWurm. He's helping me with something. You don't need to worry about it. Or at least I think he's helping me with something. Anyway, how's the solo mode? The solo mode in Worminator's Inside Job is pretty good. It plays exactly like the multiplayer version, but there's a few cards that you have to remove that have multiplayer effects. Outside of that, it's exactly the same game. And it's just as good solo as it is multiplayer. A lot of the time, solo modes in games that are identical to the multiplayer mode usually end up feeling like a watered down version of that experience. But Worminators? It doesn't feel like that at all. It feels just as engaging to play solo as it does multiplayer. Because of the way that the game scales at player count and the structure of the turn order, the game doesn't require any mechanical changes to affect the difficulty or to balance the game for solo. It works perfect with no mechanical changes. As a matter of fact, I think this might be one of the best solo modes of a multiplayer game that I've played so far this year. It's definitely in the top 5. If you liked the way that the multiplayer sounded based on what Gruffus told you, and you like solo games, Definitely don't sleep on Worminators Inside Job as a solo game. It's really good. I know I don't have much else to add here, but everything great said about the multiplayer mode carries over exactly for the solo mode. I cannot stress how equally good the solo mode in this game feels. So I guess I'll leave it at that. Well, that's gonna do it for— What are you doing?
I thought it would be funny to mix it up and, I say it this—
Well, don't. That's my thing. It's unbelievable,
Sheesh,
man.
I'm sorry, gosh.
So that's Worminators Inside Job. For a game made largely by committee during a convention, they managed to make one heck of a good time here. Games like this are what a buddy from my local board game cafe refers to as crisis management games. Crisis management games are ones like Pandemic, The Loop, Forbidden Island, and I might be going out on a limb here, but I think Worminators Inside Job is worthy of being mentioned among those other staples of the genre. I was incredibly close to giving Worminators Inside Job the puppet chef kiss, but ultimately decided against it because I think it needs just a tiny bit more oomph to make it stand out. That being said, this is probably one of my favorite light to medium weight co-op games in my collection. And as Mortimer said, the solo mode is incredibly strong in this game. Worminators Inside Job will be staying in my collection until I'm 6 feet under. And I gotta say, I'm completely shocked that this game has received so little attention in the board game sphere. It's an absolute joy to table, and I'm always down to play this game. Well, that's gonna do it for this one. As always, thanks for watching, and remember to shop at your local board game store if you can. If you're still mad about that sandwich, I'm pretty sure half of it's still in the trash.